You always do that. You never listen to me. You never hear and listen to my emotions and my feelings, and I just can't take it anymore. I can't. It's not about you. It's always about you.
Nick, I just wanted to know where you wanted to go for lunch.
Oh.
Nick, you really have to talk about PMS.
Hey guys, Nick Drossos,
Andrew Steinberg.
and welcome to another episode of...
Have the balls to talk about it.
And today it's going to take some balls what we're talking about. We have our guest, Pauline Hull, a writer, author of My Beauty, My Beast, and we're talking about PMS.
Subtitle, Mind, Body, and PMS.
Mind, body, and PMS. Pauline, thank you so much for coming on.
Welcome.
Thank you for inviting me, both of you.
So tell us a little bit about yourself to start off with.
Absolutely.
Tell them a little bit about yourself.
Yes, as a second career, I decided that I wanted to become a counselor, a therapist. So I went back to school full time, did all kinds of trainings, and became a social worker, which I am not now. For the last 6 months, I have somewhat retired, but I'm still a bit of a holistic therapist. Look at the mind-body connections behind symptoms, and this is the result of a long research that I started in 1995.
Wow.
And I started, of course, I think behind every book there's always an intimate story. All my life as a woman, menstruating woman, I never had PMS until a certain event in my life. And I was really confronted to understand what's going on. I even visited medicine, and they really didn't know what's going on. I went to naturopathy. I went to more alternative approaches. It helped a little bit, but at the end of the story, what really helped me change all this and understand what was behind it is that in my morning meditation, I was asked, why this now in my life? What do I have to understand? What's hiding behind the symptoms that I've never had in my life?
But you said you had a career change. What was your initial...
I was a court stenographer.
A court stenographer.
Totally
Okay.
different.
So,
Okay.
really
I was
changed.
in court for 20 years.
Wow.
And so asking these empowering questions every morning, one day there's a little light that went on in my brain, mind, heart, soul that said, if you have those symptoms, maybe it's because XYZ. And then that very same day, all the symptoms disappeared. And it was months every day that I was plagued with some symptoms. Totally disappeared that day. So I thought, well, I can't be the only lucky woman on this planet. So I started to research women and invite them in my office to share and look, first of all, as a bit of a guinea pig. I don't like the expression, but you know what I mean. To simply explore with them if my approach, my hypothesis made sense. And this is the book is hence the result of all
How
this.
many women did you work with, Pauline?
So far, with the book, about 20, and ever since then, a few hundreds. Definitely.
So tell us a little bit about what PMS is for you and for...
It's a beauty and a beast. It's a beast for you guys most of the time.
When women hear that, do they, like, if I give this to a woman, girlfriend,
I
wife,
did the experiment.
is it like, how dare you give me this?
No, it is, interesting. And if I talk to men about this, well, I'm going to buy you a book for my wife. So there is a bit of a dichotomy there.
That's dangerous, though.
Yes, it is. But that's their reflection, their spontaneous reply. Well, I'm going to get your book for my wife, not in front of her,
right?
But on one-on-one, you know. So I think women are very much brainwashed to think that only medicine can something about this.
But, sorry, I will need to go back because remember we're talking to a male audience mostly, and I think most of them don't even know what PMS is.
Yes. The acronym means premenstrual syndrome, and that's what it means. So it means pre-menses. For some women, it's pre-menses, maybe through 3-4 days, 5 days. Some last much more than that, unfortunately. And once the onset of the menses happen, usually it's like a release. It's like, the mood change, the different hormones happen in the body, and it gets back to quote-unquote normal. So, but for some women, PMS lasts three weeks out of 4.
That long.
Oh, that
And
long.
what are the commonest symptoms?
Over 1,000 women answered my surveys, and the big top 4 ones would be definitely irritability, sadness, anger, diffuse, confused emotions.
That's like Nick on a regular day.
And it goes on. And I surveyed one that was interesting for me because of some remarks that men told me. And I asked the question, do you have a feeling that you're looking for a fight? And between 45, throughout the years, between 45 up to 58% of women answered yes.
Wow.
So there's something there.
I have a question, like, because I've dated girls who were very high on PMS, and maybe I lack empathy or compassion, but sometimes I feel like I'm feeling like I'm dealing with a 5-year-old who's pulling a tantrum, and as much as I try to communicate or talk to them, it doesn't matter because everything will lead to another fight, and you're like, and what kind of bothers me, like when you try to like make everything okay, you realize you can't. It's almost like they have to go through the cycle and be okay, but you're also kind of, at points you feel like you're a punching bag. And at what point do you say like I get it, you're PMSing, but I'm not accepting this?
What happens, unfortunately, is I think that most women do not realize on a very conscious level that they are PMSing. It is so ingrained in them to go through that cycle that they just eventually think that it's normal. It's this time of the month.
It's a normal part of the month.
Exactly, tough out or get out, whichever. And what I think men have to do is, first of all and foremost, understand, is my wife, companion, girlfriend ready to sit down after the storm is over and really be able to consciously say and receive, like, sweetie, my darling, do you realize that in certain moments you become that different woman that I married?
Crazy.
Oh, if you dare. Say that.
Andrew said it, not me.
I hope my wife's not watching.
She is.
But I think it's not before or as it starts, but it's after, in a more calm fashion, to ask your wife, girlfriend, listen, I think we need to address this. And it doesn't mean that I know how to, but would you like us to consult about it? Would you like that? Maybe some women, although I think it's more and more a minority, unfortunately, women consult more than men on a percentage basis, but men more and more consult, and then 20, 30 years ago. I think it would be, let's go see somebody who's knowledgeable about this so we can look at what's behind there. Because my whole expertise is behind every PMS, no matter how different it is from one woman to the next. It always hides a non-resolved issue, whether an old wound from 5 years old, whether it's 2 months ago or last week, it always hides something.
So it's like a pain, and the PMS triggers of like
Yes.
a volcano that comes out.
I often told in conference to women, we are lucky to have a PMS to inform us that there's something to be dealt with.
Yeah.
Okay, but if women don't want to look at it this
like a
way,
wake-up alarm.
Exactly. Just like a symptom, a migraine or whatever, you might have a migraine because you have a brain tumor, but you might have a migraine because you have way too much stress at work and you're not dealing with it.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is the typical approach that you take with the woman sitting in front of you?
Yeah, I look at I wait a few sessions so the trust is established and confidence comes in and everything gets revealed, and at that time I collect a history. And then when they feel ready, I have an exercise that I borrowed to neuro-linguistic programming that I do with them, a whole list of their suffering, and then I get to have them describe what the pleasures are. And every woman has said to me, it's impossible that I can have a pleasure there. And I tell them, I swear to you, we're gonna find at least one. And it's that unresolved, unconscious, it's a belief, of course, that pleasure that makes you tolerate and endure all those suffering.
Do you ever meet with the patient and their husband or boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever?
Minority.
Minority?
Usually women come by themselves. Yeah, it's a delicate And also something that I must be said is that most married women have more PMS than when they are single.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
But because of the relationship issues, in the sense that
That's true.
there's not a couple that hasn't got unresolved issues, whether left or right or together, it doesn't matter.
Wow, that's
and
true.
it triggers it much more. Whereas if you're single and live by yourself and everything is sort of okay, you're not confronted by the same
Wow,
issues.
good point. Very
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
People get divorced over this stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was even in my book a woman that got acquitted for murdering while PMSing.
She got acquitted.
I don't agree with it.
I don't agree with that either.
For
Like, I mean,
murdering-
yeah, like,
She got
Well, she was-
acquitted. Yeah. Yeah. Acquitted.
do you think that, you know, like, if she got acquitted, is there something where we're tolerating it and we're, like, are men supposed to be like, oh, okay, honey, I get it, and, you know? Like,
No, I think personally that the belief, as much as women and men, is that it's a hormonal imbalance. A hormonal situation is true in the sense that we're menstruating. So of course, if we were not having a difference in hormones, Andrew will say very clearly that it's because we have a manufacturing, I don't know how to call it. It happens in the system of a woman that if our hormones function well, we will menstruate. The same thing is we will start menopausing because certain hormones get down and so on. So most people think that PMS is a hormonal imbalance. And I don't agree with that.
No,
So-
I mean, the
no.
menstruation cycle is
Yes.
a hormonal
Yeah.
changes
Yes.
for sure.
Yeah.
Not imbalanced, but that's normal hormonal,
Right.
and many women don't get
Yes,
PMS, and
that's
many
true.
do. So it's
Absolutely.
obviously something
Yes.
deeper than just
Yeah.
the cycle of
good point.
hormones.
Absolutely.
And on that topic, is there any times where you say you have someone in front of you and think there's something medical going on here, and you should see her?
If my exercise doesn't function, I will say maybe you should go to medicine. But honestly, it hasn't happened yet.
Really?
No.
Amazing.
In 20 years.
For our older audience, is menopause and PMS in the same?
My belief is yes, and I surveyed premenopausal and menopausal women in my books, and I was very happy to hear from them. I think over 70% of women said they had a good menopause because they had a good belief system.
Wow.
They were not going to become victim from it. They were not going to lose their husband. They were not going to, the myth that's going on, you know. So it confirms my hypothesis that mind, psyche, attitude will definitely have a big impact.
Question: do men menopause?
Andrew?
Well,
Do
actually,
we men?
that's going to be our next topic. We're going to talk about andropause,
Andropause.
which is a drop in testosterone, but
Yes,
that's next show.
I think so too. The answer is
Yeah.
yes. Yes, absolutely.
It's not as dramatic as a drop as a woman. You're here, and then 6 months later you're not.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, good.
another show.
So, but what are the tips you would give men who are watching right now who are in a relationship?
How to survive.
Yeah.
How to survive,
Survival
yes.
101, menopause, PMS.
I tell them you can go hunting and fishing so many times, you know. So the same I just told you, for you guys, realize that there is a change during the month and take a good time. And I have a famous question that I borrowed from Dr. Hendricks, who's my mentor in imagotherapy. Take an appointment with your spouse. And it goes like this, darling. When do you want to take the time to hear me out? Don't force a time, an hour a day. Say, when do you want? If the answer is why, question is when. Give me a time. Don't play with the question or the answer. Until you have, Thursday, 2 o'clock, whatever, until you have a set answer about time, don't get there. Don't go there.
But once we're there in front of them, we have to say, honey, I think for 3 days a month you're crazy. Right? That's not the approach you want to take, obviously.
And she got acquitted for killing her husband. So Andrew, just
I propose you come to therapy, Andrew. No, simply put, be kind, be compassionate, and say, you can start by talking about yourself. I feel lost when I see certain behaviors during that time of the month.
okay.
I would like a moment, I would like help that we both understand what's going on, because I feel like I want to crawl under the carpet, or I want to escape, or I want to. It's scary for me.
But when it's happening, should we just stay away? Should I like
Run.
talk to her, run, hide, try to go close? It's like, I kind of feel like it's a ticking time bomb going, tuk, 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 and she's like, I want you to be there for me, but I'm like, you're about to explode.
Yes.
It's like, it's a kind of catch-22, like,
Instead of saying you're about to explode, talk about you. I don't know, when you're like that, sweetie, or honey, whatever, I don't know what to do. I feel lost. And instead of saying something that's going to trigger more in you, I think I'm going to take a time out. And of course, it depends on every couple. Some couples I find a bit more evolved.
But then I'm going to
and
hear,
talk.
oh, that's it. There you go, taking a time out again, because you can't handle me. It's like this whole reverse.
You should make a set of cue cards for men.
That's it.
Honey, I think I need a time.
That would be a good idea.
It'd sell like
Could be
wildfire, yeah.
hotcakes. It could
Hot-
be, but it really depends on the relationship itself and
That's
how
right.
open and how comprehensive. And you might say, "Honey, allow me. I'm gonna take a little time out right now. Let me go shopping. Can I come back with flowers?" You know, try to de-dramatize it as much
De-dramatize,
as you
that's good,
can.
yeah,
For
yeah.
me, it is de-dramatize.
Wow.
I mean, is a constant.
This is good advice. I think that could save a
Awesome,
lot of
man.
marriages.
Yeah.
I think so
Absolutely.
too, because obviously, I have had men in my office who have divorced because of PMS. Oh yes, absolutely, yeah. So that makes sense to you?
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Good.
So thank you, Pauline, for giving us all this super useful advice.
Thanks to you too, both of you.
Thank you so much for coming on the show, and I'm pretty sure that a lot of men who didn't understand it are going to learn. Like just right now, there's so much information that I got that,
I have a chapter for them, especially in my
Perfect.
book.
and I'm pretty sure like just this could save a lot of marriages and give a
Hope
better
so.
understanding from both sides.
We had the balls to talk about a very touchy subject.
Yes, so guys, I want to thank you guys for watching. Make sure to visit Andrew Steinberg at
SteinbergUrology.com.
my website, nickdrossos.com, for our new hero program. Put in.
And PMScramprelief.com.
Thank you guys for watching, and remember,
Have the balls to talk about it.
have the balls to talk about it. My beauty, my beast.